Juke's Towers of Hell is a game that, even though it has only been around for a little over 2 years, has a rich history of itself. Many game updates and things that are added are for the greater good of the game, but unfortunately, if life has taught us, not everything that happens is great. One common saying that all humans probably know is that our best lessons come from our mistakes. Juke's Towers of Hell definitely has its fair share of things that are mistakes. In this series, I take you through the history, explain where things are today, and potential ways to fix these issues. Let's sit down and talk about something that will be closing a huge chapter in the game's history: Ring 9. Ring 9, which is known as Treachery, is the final ring in the Great Inferno. What lies after this area is the final stretch, which is going to be an obelisk, which I'll talk more about later. Other than Ring 9 being the last area that the Great Inferno offers, it gains a lot of buzz within the JTO community for one reason. Most of the towers that are apparently going to reside here are soul-crushing towers. This is a big deal as each area of the game only has one or two soul-crushing towers, meaning for the first time, there will be a huge supply of soul-crushing towers to choose from. An issue though that most players have, causing them not to progress. However, Ring 9 has been very competitive in terms of getting towers in. Even though there is only 1 week left before towers will be getting confirmed, there are so many promising and crazy towers that people have their eyes on. Ring 9 has also caused a huge war with catastrophic towers, as many creators have been trying to push their creations as one of the few of this high caliber. Needless to say, this ring is going to be very competitive and important. As a community, let's sit together and take a look at what we know of this ring, the final chapter of the Great Inferno's huge history. Believe it or not, when the game was in its infancy, there was no ring select. There was just a single area of the game with 5 towers. However, that would soon change. The 9th ring did not come around until September 17th, 2018. This is when the ring update came out, which came out with the ring select and the 9 rings, which were called at the time Kitty's Inferno. At the time, no one really thought much of the 9th ring, as people in this very small community were delighted and in awe of the potential of the insane amount of content that they were getting. This was a time when one tower being added meant more to the community than the Zone 4 release of today. It wouldn't be for long though until discussion about the game's 9th ring would come around. It's lost of time as to when information got out, likely around during Ring 4 development, that Ring 9 was planned to be all soul-crushing difficulty towers. While people were contemplating what such an environment would look like, things were starting to get interesting in terms of Ring 9 with an old creator from this era, Ice and Salt. He was working on a tower called Tower of Serious Salt, which was planned to be twice as hard as Tower of True Skill. That tower itself was being pretty much seen as impossible at the time. This tower would later be buffed and had its name changed to Statistically Terrifying Overachieving Neglectful Enragement Facility, or its way more common name, Stone. This is a tower that many players are familiar with. This tower is from 2018 and a while back was seen as catastrophic and humanly impossible. Times are different today. It's not even called a catastrophic tower anymore. This insane tower was confirmed for Ring 9 not long after its completion. In September 2018, this picture was released to the public. Some people speculate that this was early terrain for Ring 9, however this was not the case and was used for the game's first event, Halloween 2018. Clloy also released a video in early 2019 showing what was inside of Ring 9 at the time. The original terrain from 2018 is removed, and there is nothing there but an old sign that reads, "You should not be here." It was also during this time that Ice and Salt started regretting making Stone. In 2020, Ice attempted to start a revamp of the tower, which was never finished. After a very hard decision, Ice asked the development team to remove Stone from the 9th ring. It was deconfirmed on May 13th, 2020, an action which shocked the community. Stone was in the ring select for a very long time, until its removal. Even though this tower never got in game, it has an important history and long-lasting influence. No new things have come around since then, other than a confirmation by the Ring Select that the 2018 narrative of all soul-crushing towers would be changed. It says that now, most towers that reside here are soul-crushing. There were two other towers that were also confirmed for Ring 9. This was Tower of Inferno Galore and Tower of Elongated Runs. Tower of Elongated Runs would be moved to Ring 7, and Inferno Galore would have a whole frenzy before it was finally deconfirmed from the game entirely. For the very first time, Ring 9 would be seriously worked on. The day after ringing in the new year, Warbat surprised us all with some news. He confirmed that Ring 9 towers would be looked at sometime after the Christmas event was over, and encouraged everyone to submit their towers as soon as possible. It was the first time that finally, an official difficulty range was introduced. The official difficulty range for the 9th ring was going to be intense all the way up to catastrophic. One thing we need to remember is that according to the Ring Select, it is very likely that there will be 7 or more soul-crushing towers, since it talks about most towers being soul-crushing. Fortunately, over the past year, the quality of soul-crushing towers has increased, unlike their 2018 and 19 counterparts. Now that we understand where we are today, let's talk about some things that are very worrying. Ring 9 is essentially a more messed up version of Ring 7. It just happens to be that the 7th ring has 7 towers that are intense and above, and the 7th ring isn't really well received by players. The reason why I picked this up is because it is most likely we'll be seeing the same caliber in Ring 9, with about this many towers in their respective difficulties. Imagine replacing all the towers that are challenging and below in the 7th ring, and replacing them with soul-crushing towers. While if this is a concern or not, that's up to you. It's just something to think about. This community is very fragile in terms of what they think. Either rings are seen as very good or really bad. The lineup for this ring is going to have to be very impressive. But with as many soul-crushing towers there are, and with their varying difficulties, it may be a good idea for developers to consider changing the difficulty from intense down to challenging for this ring. This is likely not going to be an issue though, with the lineup of towers that there are. Another thing is that Gameter, which is one of the developers, has confirmed on multiple occasions that the final stretch is an obelisk. Even on July 28th last year, confirming that it would be a remorseless obelisk with 2 safety nets. While the exact plan is unknown, should there even be 2 safety nets which will likely split this obelisk up into 3 separate towers? That is for you to decide. There is one thing I have noticed. Usually when I talk to people and this topic comes up, one of the biggest concerns is length. JTO players really hate long towers. Common criticisms of towers like Great Displeasure and insanely innovative ideas is that they're too long. This is 30 or more floors of gameplay. With people saying that Gameter has said that the obelisk will be high remorseless, how is the player base going to perceive this massive monster? If it's true that this will have 2 safety nets, this could mean that the obelisk could be very long and not very punishing. Getting even access to the obelisk seems very interesting. I would not be surprised it would likely take as long as a new ring or zone for the obelisk to come out. The win room in Ring 2 talks about beating champions in every ring, likely indicating there will be 9 different boss fights to even open up the obelisk. However, the requirement to do these bosses is unknown. I am definitely worried about how to unlock these fights, as there are already prerequisites for every ring. I hope the dev team knows what they're doing. I am definitely curious as to where these champions are, as you only get knowledge of them in Ring 2's win room. It even states, to claim victory of this world, your first goal is to seek the champions and defeat them. Could these champions be at Ring 9? There's more information at Ring 8 as well. What lies just before you in this sea of fire and lava will be the absolute test to see if you're worthy of gaining entry into the soul of this inferno. Upon reading this line, I contemplated something in my Cox completion video.
Luck. I hope that there's not going to be a requirement on beating soul-crushing towers. That's what I'm afraid of. I think this sign is trying to hint that you're gonna have to beat an X amount of the soul crushing towers in Ring 9, because Ring 9 is going, as long as they don't change it, to be all soul crushing towers. So I'm hoping they will go, you have to beat 3 soul crushing towers. But this wind room is definitely unique.
While we may know a little, it gets me very excited to see what is ahead of us. Only time will tell the extreme hell that this final stretch is going to bring. This video, however, is going to be a very different video from my other J-Toe Flaweds. Usually in these types of videos, I give ideas of what to do to solve such issues. I typically give you a form for you guys to vote on what you think is the best way to fix these issues. However, the main issues at hand are mainly the obelisk and its difficulty in the Ring 9 difficulty range. It's impossible to determine what's going to happen. Orbaz and the team have a huge job at hand. The community has really high expectations and they need to deliver them. While it's your choice to think if 12 to 14 towers at intense difficulty and higher is good for the game, needless to say, this is going to be a very challenging ring for people to grasp their hands on upon its release. But simply, the full success of Ring 9 is at the hands of the development team. This video is more of an alert and a lookout of what is to come, to inform everybody what this ring has meant for the community since day one, and the type of hell that we are going to be strapped in for at this final destination. It's really sad to see that most people really don't care about a lot of the difficulty chart. I haven't seen much discussion about towers in Terrifying or below, mainly Catastrophic, and well, that whole difficulty has some issues. In part 2 of Ring 9, I will discuss the Catastrophic difficulty, sit down and discuss what will be our real and utter hell, and discuss different setups for Ring 9 itself, as well as having some polls for you, the community, to decide on, just like the Elite Obvious video. This video's premiere will be tomorrow, January 30th at 4 PM Eastern Time. I hope to see you there, as this video has some spicy facts and talks about the Ring 9's catastrophic candidates. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Logan ISL, and I'll hopefully see you again next time.